Hello there everyone, guys, the situation is getting much worse and I urge you to watch this video from the beginning and until the end because it is quite serious and you really need to understand as to what is happening because it's not what they're telling you, and I'm one of really few YouTube channels that out there in the world that is giving you truthful information. So quickly, we actually are, the Bitcoin price actually pumped, which is a good thing, but let me give you all the details as to what is bad, what is good, and what is actually all of this is going to lead to, in my personal humble opinion. So my long trade is still open, and it's actually going into at least some small profit, so that's really nice. And by the way, guys, also, as you might know, I'm trading over on Bybit, and if you use my link down in the description to Bybit, you'll be getting up to $30,000 initial deposit bonuses. But Bybit actually is going to be doing a mandatory KYC beginning with May the 8th. So if you're from a country, I mean, I would still suggest, if you can, please do the KYC on Bybit, because Bybit is big. It's one of those exchanges that doesn't have any stupid FUD about it. But if you're from one of those countries that you cannot complete the KYC physically, even if you wanted to, then I was looking for an alternative. And there is a smaller exchange right now that I know the CEO of. It's called Bitflex, and there is a link to it down in the description of this video, which will give you up to $2,000 in initial deposit bonuses, and it doesn't require a KYC. So this is a replacement that you can use if you really cannot complete the KYC on Bybit, and that's what I would suggest doing. But here is a replacement. And again, it's a much smaller exchange, but it doesn't require KYC. And there is a link to it down in the description of this video. So, okay, let's move on. Before we come back to the chart and talk about the price targets and the technicals and everything I'm personally seeing right now in the charts, let's talk about this. Because as this analyst, we've seen this before, as he predicted that further turmoil is likely ahead for regional banks, and therefore the banking system itself, the banking sector. And there we go. So we have another bank actually taking a crap, and that's PacWest. And the PacWest stock actually plunged as US regional banking woes worsened. So, and it's not just PacWest, there are others, and it's happening. And everything that Powell has been saying, and Janet Yellen, Biden, etc., it's all, and especially people like Jim Cramer, it's all nonsense. The system is breaking. And the thing is that about half in US worry, half of people in US worry about their money safety in banks, and they should. And quite frankly, where should they go to, and where are they actually going? And guess what? With all these news, when we were saying any bank actually collapse, we see Bitcoin pump. So this is exactly where that's where they should be exiting to. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, true freedom, in my personal humble opinion. Again, not financial advice. It is something that I'm personally doing myself. Now, actually, it's not just about the US. Fed up, people are actually in Europe are draining billions from banks because they're fed up with shrinking savings because of inflation, etc. And they're actually looking for alternatives. In Europe, it's the same thing. So, and guess what? While all the banks, I mean, this is just beautiful. This just shows what it is, what Bitcoin freaking stands for. Look at all these banks actually collapsing, going downwards. And you can see all the names of these banks. And Bitcoin is going to decide and pumping a bit every single time when a bank collapses. If this doesn't tell you what this is and what we are standing on the verge of, then you really should be subscribed, and you have to hit that notification bell so you're always notified when I make a new upload. Join my trading education at tomscrollo.com so you understand everything we talk about here on this YouTube channel, and join my free Discord channel, link, and the Telegram channel. All the links down in the description of this video, life-changing links. Become a part of this insane community. So now, next thing I really wanted to mention before we go to the chart and talk about the price action, what I'm personally expecting, and that is the fact that Coinbase actually wins the court round, because remember, Coinbase said, you know what, SEC and Gary Gensler, enough is enough. So they're actually suing SEC for clarity, for regulatory clarity. And it actually won the first round. And as it says right here, a federal appeals court gave the agency, which is SEC, 10 days to explain why it sat on the leading US crypto exchanges' July request for rules on how to conduct digital asset transactions. Finally, thank you. According to a Twitter post by Paul Grant, whatever, Coinbase's chief legal officer. But that actually, and this is what you have to understand, even though it's a victory, but that will not necessarily translate to a quick acquiescence by the SEC, which has been attempting to assert authority over the cryptocurrency market this year in a series of actions that appear to be linked to a wider government crackdown. So even though this is a win, it's not a victory yet. So the battle might be won, but the war is going to be ongoing, and as it says in this article, it's going to probably drag on for quite some time. But at least there is some momentum. It's going to take some time, but this is very positive. One thing, before we move to the chart, one thing I want you to pay attention to is that yesterday jobless claims actually came out a bit higher than expected, and except for April 27th reading, we are still following this trajectory to the upside, so which could feed the narrative was actually starting to see the real slowing of the economy and also subsequently the drop into the recession, as Fed has already predicted that we're going to be going into a mild recession. So, and last but not least, when it comes to the Fed rate monitor, people are currently placing a bet that there is a 95% chance that just the other day it was the last rate hike. So we'll see if that's going to come to fruition. Now, when it comes to our price targets, when it comes to my trade that has a small profit on its side, so actually, technically, what we are seeing is still the same good old wedge in this pattern right here, which is very far. I mean, we just got rejected again. We went to like 29,500 and got rejected from this downward slope. So for us to activate any kind of bullish momentum, just technically, we need to break 29,700, and this by extension actually would have triggered a price target of like $34,000. But again, I would be, even if we break 29.5, I really want to see us break 31,200 and actually also this local high. But besides this, when it comes to the support area, we're actually seeing this kind of an interesting wedge develop. But again, this kind of, it's a very short-term wedge, so to speak, this tiny one. So if we do break down below it, it's actually a nice short trade. First target of 28,500 and then also 27,300, which would be just a part of this whole momentum. And then you can take some profit here and take some profit here if you want to be this kind of super short-term trader, which this is still could play out in a short-term perspective. Again, depending on what's going to happen with the banking sector and whether people are going to be moving more and more to Bitcoin, which they already are, quite frankly. And as for myself, for this, my trade, again, still the same. I will add some here and I will add some here to it, even if we're going to go down there. So that's pretty much it, guys. Check out this quick tutorial as to how to trade Bitcoin with proper risk and money management. Remember about the 8th of May, the KYC on Bybit. I urge you to do the KYC if you can. If you can, join Bitflex with a $2,000 bonus, link down in the description. And as always, peace and love. Thomas Krallo, stay smart, stay rich, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.